Remember when you first started your business, you said you were going to show up every day, do this, do that, launch the best business in the world, and more importantly, break free of the paycheck to paycheck system. But then what happened? After a couple days or weeks or months, if you're lucky, the excitement dies away, the momentum fades away, and you couldn't remember why you started the journey in the first place. Because who even sent you? It's not easy. You're starting to realize that, oh, this is hard work. This is going to take a lot of grit from you. This is going to take a lot of energy and zap a lot of things from you. And so you're wondering why you started in the first place. Now showing up feels like a chore. You don't know why anybody would even listen to you. Imposter syndrome is happening like big time. And then everything is just meh. If that sounds familiar, I want to show you how you can keep showing up consistently and why it is the key to building your business so that you can finally escape the 9 to 5, or rather so that you can finally escape the paycheck to paycheck system. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips that has helped me to show up even when I don't feel like it, or show up when the momentum has faded, because that's what we're all about, escaping the paycheck to paycheck system. Hi, I'm Tess. I help aspiring solopreneurs escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle by building an audience online with consistent weekly accountability. If you're not fully motivated to do the things needed in order for you to build your business and help you to escape the paycheck to paycheck system, it's a normal thing, not just in building a business. Motivation is a normal thing. It's normal for motivation to reduce or dwindle with time as you pursue something, or as you do these repetitive motions or movements. I'm not a philosopher or a psychologist. I'm speaking from experience, and I know that a lot of people experience the same thing too. When you repeatedly do something over and over and over again, especially when at the initial stage you're not getting the results that you think you're going to get, which is, let's face it, something that happens in building a business. It's very easy for morale to drop. It's very easy to say, oh well, why am I even doing this in the first place? Who's getting paid? Nobody's getting paid for this, And that's the exact reason why many solopreneurs or aspiring solopreneurs decide that, oh, this isn't even worth it. Best I just remain in my 9 to 5. At least there's a steady paycheck coming at the end of the month. I need to use my free time to rest and recuperate from all this hectic hustle and bustle. But that's the mentality that kept me in that cycle for years. If you want to build something tangible, then you need to break free of that mentality. And you have to know that when motivation drops, it is a normal thing. So the question is, what do you do? How do you break through? How do you show up anyway? How do you keeping consistent with your business so that you can build something for yourself that will help you to escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle? First of all, let me encourage you, do not allow yourself to get comfortable. Do not allow yourself to tell yourself and believe yourself that the paycheck to paycheck is more comfortable. It is. It feels that way now. There's a reason why they call it golden chains. But if you really want to break free of that, if you've really come to the realization that giving your youth to this system is not acceptable, if you've come to the realization that come retirement, nobody sends you, you're not going to be comfortable enough, depending on what part of the world you are, it's bleak. If you've come to that realization and you want to reclaim your youth, because we want to steal back our youth from these thieves that are stealing our energy. Because by the time you come out at the other end after retirement, you find out that you don't have the time to pursue anything anymore, or you don't have the energy to pursue the things that you were passionate about anymore. So we're going to break free of this cycle. We're going to reclaim our time and pursue the things that are important to us. Do not let yourself fall back into that cycle of repeatedly of going through the motions of going to work every day, coming back just for the comfort of a steady paycheck that's coming at the end of the month. If you want to build something tangible, then you have to learn to embrace, you have to learn to accept that motivation will dip. It is normal. What do you do instead? In this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips that helps me to stay motivated even when I don't want to, even when I don't feel like it. I'm human. This is something that has helped me over time to consistently show up even when I don't have the time. The first tip to consistently show up to build your audience online, even when you are feeling demotivated or when the motivation has faded, is to keep your eye on the North Star. What's your goal? What do you want to achieve? What are your dreams and aspirations? Keep your eyes there. Remind yourself that this is where you are going. Staying where you are is not an option because you absolutely have to get there. That will keep you or remind you of the reasons why you are doing what you're doing. Next thing on the list is keeping to-do lists. To-do lists, I keep saying this, lists have changed my life. I am that girl that would keep a list of everything I want to do. This might not seem like an important thing if you are struggling with motivation, but the truth is that if you don't know what you're supposed to do in the first place, how would you even be motivated to start? In addition to lists, this is still on the second point, is lists, systems, and frameworks. So the things you have to do every single day, they have to go on your daily lists or your weekly list. Just schedule them or put the time that it is due. And then the systems is just the processes that helps you to continue to do what you're doing or to make it easier. Okay, I think I know the word now. The processes or systems are just things to make your flow more automated or feel more natural. And that brings me to habit stacking. Habit stacking is on that thing too. So this thing is kind of like intertwined. The lists, systems, and habit stacking. In order to get the most out of habit stacking, you want to take that thing that you're not motivated to do and pair it with something that you already do every day or that you enjoy doing every day. That's the only way it's going to work. You're going to want to pair it with something that you enjoy doing. So for me, I love taking walks every day. It helps me clear my head. It helps me think. And there are times when I'm just not motivated to write because I also try to write every day. It's good for the visibility of my business. So if I find myself not having the energy or the motivation to write, during my walks, I would dictate what I want to say. It's just like a brain dump. And then at the end of my walk, I would have a transcript of everything I said. And that would just serve as like a starter for my posts or for my newsletter or whatever it is I want to write. So it really helps me to stay on top of my writing, pairing my writing with my walks. So you take something you already do and you enjoy doing every day and pair it with that thing that you're not motivated to do. That's it for habit stacking. And so now let's move on to the next point. This third one is for when you don't feel like doing anything at all. There are some days when you just wake up and you're like, you know what? I have been busy lately. I have been good. I've done this. I've done that. And nobody's giving me any accolades. I just want to veg out in front of the TV. I just want to curl in my bed and read my favorite book or binge on my favorite Netflix series or whatever it is. I want to do nothing with my life today except play. You know that kind of feeling? When you feel like that, here's what I do instead of just completely shutting off. If it's a weekday, because I make a mental note or I make a point to not show up, I make a point to not work on Sundays. I work a little bit on Saturdays. For myself, not for my 9-to-5 job. For my business, I work a little bit on Saturdays, but nothing on Sundays. So I'm talking about weekdays when I feel like not doing anything at all with my life, because that happens more often than I care to admit. When that happens, I just tell myself, show up for 10 minutes. Just do 10 minutes. That's like my rule. And this is, by the way, a tip or a habit that I picked from reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm sure all of you have read that, but if you haven't, you should pick it up. It really helped me a lot. So yeah, I tell myself to show up for just 10 minutes. I tell myself to show up for just 10 minutes. And when I show up for 10 minutes, if I don't want to, by the end of 10 minutes, I will stop. So that can look differently depending on what your activity is. For example, you can't tell yourself that if your activity is filming a 20-minute video, you want to show up for 10 minutes. So if you start, you're just going to start. So you can just tell yourself, okay, just set it up. Set up the video recording space. Set up your work area. And then if you don't want to, you leave it for the next day. That sort of thing. Just do something. So what I tell myself to do is show up for 10 minutes. If I'm supposed to be on LinkedIn posting, I really don't feel like it because, oh my goodness, LinkedIn can suck the life out of you if you don't clear up your feed because the kind of posts you see there. So I just tell myself, okay, you know what, 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes, I would be focused. Because I know I have just 10 minutes, I'll be very, very focused. Okay, let me connect with this person. Let me send this person a message. Let me comment on this post. Then I'm done if I don't want to. But guess what? More often than not, when I show up for 10 minutes, I don't stop at 10 minutes. because by the end of 10 minutes, I find myself in the middle of doing something that I want to just complete before I stop. And then by the time I'm done, before you know, the motivation has set in. And it just reminds me of this thing I read from, like I said, I'm a very big consumer of information. But yeah, Mark Manson wrote about this in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that here, so I'm just going to say F. So yeah, he spoke about how the motivation cycle is kind of backwards. I'm paraphrasing here, so don't quote me. But it goes like this: if you're not feeling motivated, just do the thing. Motivation comes after doing the thing. Motivation doesn't come before you do it. So in other words, you can be feeling motivated and then you do something. But when you are not motivated, you can do the thing and then get motivated to continue. So that's where that 10 minutes thing comes in for me anyway. If you just tell yourself to start for 10 minutes. If you are still not feeling motivated at the end of that 10 minutes, fine, no problem. You have achieved what you wanted. You said you were going to commit for 10 minutes and you did. Close up your workspace and you go home. But I kid you not, if you do this, more often than not, you would not stop at 10 minutes. You then become motivated because you set a series of actions that got you motivated to continue. So that is a very important thing. Commit to 10 minutes. If you are not feeling like doing anything, tell yourself to do it for 10 minutes and then stop if you want to. Another thing that keeps me motivated is accountability. This is a very, very, very important one, because when you're not accountable, if no one is... I often tell people that I perform best when I'm under a lot of pressure. I mean, let me give you an example, not to toot my own horn, but I recently completed a master's program. While I was running that master's program, I had 2 jobs, one in the morning and one in the evening. Okay, at a point, it was even up to 3 jobs. I think I had 3 jobs at a point, then later I came down to 2. That's in addition to the master's program. And I'm a mom. I have a child. As at that time, my boy was under 5 years old, I think 4 or so. And I'm a wife as well. So you see, I had a lot of things pulling me in 100 different directions. And I was still trying to build a business. Granted, then I wasn't consistent. I mean, I'm a human being. There's only so much I can do. But the point I'm making is, I was doing this many things. And do you know my performance in the masters? I had straight A's. Yes, straight A's. So I often tell my husband, or I tell people this thing, when I'm under a lot of pressure, external pressure, when I'm under a lot of external pressure, my performance is always top notch, because I feel like I don't want to disappoint the people out there. So I had to self-reflect a lot before I realized that I think the reason why I perform best when I'm under a lot of pressure is because all this pressure, they're all external pressure. The exams I was writing during my master's, external pressure. I'm definitely not going to fail an exam. Not on my watch. So that was an external pressure. The pressure from work, external pressure. Everything I was doing, external pressure. The only thing I was doing that was internally placed on me, or that was an internal pressure, was the business I was trying to build at that time. So because that pressure, because the pressure was coming from something I placed on myself by myself, I did not hold myself accountable. So I did not succeed at that time in what I was doing. So I now realize that if I simply make myself accountable, that would help me to show up. So what am I trying to say? You have to be accountable. You have to keep yourself accountable. I read this book. I like to quote books a lot. So the books I read, I quote them a lot, because I'm doing this thing now where I implement everything I read. Okay, yes, I was talking about the book I read. The name of that book was 12-Week Year. I can't remember the author. I'll put a picture here if I remember. That book spoke about achieving a year's goal in a quarter of a year. Is it a quarter? It's a quarter, right? In 3 months, which is 12 weeks. So that book spoke about relentlessly pursuing your goals and reevaluating at the end of each 12 week, so that you can reiterate or get better and whatever. I hope the noise is not too much. Please pardon it. So the most important thing there, or the most important point he spoke about, was joining accountability meetings. And when I read that part, I'm like, yeah, but where to find an accountability meeting, So I just overlooked that, and I went ahead to try and build, because I love frameworks and systems. I started building and planning and writing my to-do list. Oh my goodness, to-do list. So I was doing all of this alongside the masters, the 3 jobs, and the wifing and the mothering. And obviously, because I did not have anybody holding me accountable to the things I said I was going to do for my business, that just naturally fell down the cracks, because I had other things that I legit had to do. I had deadlines at work. I had to read for my exams to the masters. So, and because nobody was taking my time, or no external person was pulling me in the direction of my business, it just naturally fell down the cracks. Without an accountability system in your business, if you are like me, and I think a lot of people are like me, if you're like me, you will not move forward. You won't go very far if nobody's holding you accountable. Unless you are the most disciplined person in the planet, then this video is not for you. If you are the most disciplined person, this video is not for you. But if you're like me, you would need an accountability system. It is just what it is. So my accountability system, since I started, I have been attending these weekly accountability meetings. You have to give account of your week. What did you do? What did you say you were going to do at the beginning of the week, and what did you do during the week? What was your performance? How did you perform? If you perform below 85%, you have to ensure that the following week you improve on that score. You know, that sort of thing. So you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be relentless and smart with your goals, because your goals are supposed to take you one step closer to your North Star. Every single week you should be doing something that's taking you a step closer to your North Star. So if you're doing that, it means that every single week it's important for you to show up, because you want to attain your 12-week goal. You see where I'm going with that? So that has really changed it for me, because even when some weeks I'm feeling down and I don't do as much as I say I would, by the meeting time, when it's time to like give account for the week, and I see my colleagues saying, oh yeah, I did everything I said I was going to do. I had 100% this week because I hit every milestone on my list, or I hit every goal on my list. I mean, I'm like, oh wow, I did below 50% because I wasn't feeling all that motivated. And then you now find out that no, next week I'm going to do better. I just have to not fall my hand. I have to show up for myself. I have to not be that person that is not serious. So it's just that thing of, for me, like I said, it's just that thing of being responsible, because now I'm doing this in front of people. People can see me not doing what I said I was going to do. You know? So it's like, to cut the long story short, it's an external pressure now. Someone else, I mean, you know the meaning of accountability. Someone else is holding me accountable. I have to show up. I have to do this. And not to mention, this is for my own good. I mean, keep your eyes on the North Star, right? So another thing that keeps me going is remembering that this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. You have to take a breath. You have to take measured breaths and steps towards your goal. This is a marathon. This is not, yes, I'm currently in it. I say it a lot in my videos. I'm in a 12-week journey. Last week I was at week 6. Now I'm in week 7. And I know this journey is not going to end by week 12, but by the end of that week 12, I know that I would have built momentum. My habits that I'm currently doing or undergoing or building during this 12-week program, by then it would have stuck. I think it has stuck by now even, but it keeps refining, it keeps growing. So I know that the journey will not end by 12 weeks. 12 weeks is even a long time for a lot of people, and I know that that's just the beginning. This is something I tend to remind myself of when I feel like quitting, because it's a journey. It's a marathon. If I don't show up today, my business is not going to die. Especially if I show up for just 10 minutes, for example. But remembering that it's a marathon, it just puts things in perspective. And that's why it's very important for you to get it right from the beginning. It's important for you to get it right from your offer. From this business you're trying to build, or this thing you want to sell at the end of the day. This is a digital business we're trying to do. So you're selling a digital product. This product or solution or transformation that you're selling, what does it mean to you? Is it something you're comfortable with? Is it something you're happy to do for people? That's why it's very good or important to get it. Because if you don't, you find yourself stuck with a product you don't care about, or you find yourself stuck with a business that drains the life out of you, or that doesn't make you happy. So it's very important to get it right, because you have to align your interests, your passion, your beliefs. You don't want to lose yourself in this journey. So it's very important that you start from there, because picking your offer is arguably the most important step, the most important first step that you need to do. And so if you haven't done that, I encourage you to watch this video. I'll put it somewhere, or link in the description or somewhere. So that's why it's important to start from there, start from that drawing board, because if you don't, you find yourself demotivated, and you are building a business that you don't care about, or that maybe the industry or the product, I don't know, it doesn't make you feel comfortable. Then now imagine you now realize that, oh, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So it's like, you are stuck in this thing indefinitely and you don't even like it. So that's the reason why it's very important to get that first step right. So in conclusion, I'm going to list everything starting from the beginning. I keep looking down here. My laptop is down here. So here again, as a recap for the things that you need to do to consistently show up to build your business online, even when you're feeling motivated, so that you can build a successful online business and escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle. First is to keep your eye on your North Star every single day. Second is to keep lists, frameworks, and habit stacking close to your chest. You have to do this and do them every single day. Third is to commit to 10 minutes per day on the days that you are feeling low. Fourth is accountability, because that matters. Without accountability, it's very easy to just let yourself go. The fifth one is to remember that this is a marathon and not a sprint. It's a very long journey, and so just get comfortable with yourself and know that it's a way of life, right? And your daily small consistent steps will take you one step closer to buying back your freedom, breaking free from the paycheck to paycheck cycle, and buying and spending time with your loved ones. We don't want to spend our whole life working and we find out when we are ready to retire, we don't even know our kids anymore because they were raised with nannies, or I don't know, because we're not around with them always. So if you're ready to escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle by building an audience that would convert into paying customers, you should start with my video where I talk about going from your idea to your offer, and this is going to guide you into creating that offer that resonates with you and that is profitable at the same time. Also remember that your offer can get modified or fine-tuned with time as you go, and that is okay. We are human beings and we grow and we evolve. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to start. You just need a solid plan. You need a North Star, like I like to say, and then you start to take daily steps towards that direction every single day. You just need to show up, however imperfectly, fail if you must, learn from your failures, reiterate, grow, improve, show up every single day, and eventually you'll get where you're going. So start showing up every single day, achieve one goal every single week, and eventually you'll get where you're going. And that's all for now from me. Bye.